And welcome, boys and girls, to the One Shot Podcast. We are joined today by my spirit animal, contemporary artist Michael Shellis. Michael, what's going on, man?
How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming.
So tell us the story, Ben, why Michael's on.
I was just going to say why he's my spirit animal is because in an alternative life, where, I could maybe do it over again, or maybe if I could live two lives at one time, I would have pursued art.
Really? Yeah, so the theme of this episode is regrets.
That's right. What is it? No regrets? Yeah.
No regrets.
No, but I mean, art, I think, other than sports, art was like the first thing that I gravitated towards as a kid.
Really?
And just love. I mean, for hours, I would sit there and draw and paint. Not paint, more just drawing. Mm-hmm. But I never thought or contemplated, hey, this could be a career, or I could do something with this. It was just for fun.
Honestly.
Yeah, it was just for fun. And so that's why I'm excited to have you on, because you've turned that hobby I'm sure you had as a kid to a full-time job, passion, dream, etc. So we're going to dive into that. But the reason we met, or how we met, is actually the bright side of social media. Mm-hmm. I was actually scrolling through Instagram a couple weeks ago. A buddy of mine posted this badass Kobe Bryant painting. And it was really unique, really cool. It wasn't your typical just, standard picture painting. I was like, that's really cool. And he tagged the artist underneath. And come to find out, it was Michael. It was you. And so I went in, I looked at your page. I was like, man, this guy, I don't know who he is. I don't know, anything about him, but we've got to talk to him. Mm-hmm. We've got to have him on the podcast.
Well, thank you for reaching out.
Oh, absolutely.
That was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So we're excited to get into your story because, again, I think when we started this podcast a couple years ago, we really we're just fascinated by people.
Yeah.
We're fascinated by how people make a living for themselves and what do they pursue and why do they do that? And so for you, that's what I'm super interested in. Again, it's such a fun world that we don't think can, provide a life for somebody necessarily. And so that's what I'm excited to dig in. Tyler, do you have any agenda here?
No, I think
myself?
No. Well, when you finally shut up, then maybe I can input some conversation. But I think Michael's journey and story, it's exactly why we started this, like you said, right? What are you doing to take advantage of the time that you have on this planet, and what impact are you making?
Yeah.
And taking risks, betting on yourself, like doing something, not following just the standard protocol, go to school, get a job, do those things, like really finding something that gets you excited in the morning. And that's what I think everybody looks for, but never really looks inside to find what it is that they want. Everyone looks in social media. Everybody looks like, oh,
what should I want?
Yeah.
Not what do I want?
Yeah. Oh, that looks like they're happy. Like maybe I should do that, or maybe I should. It's like really taking an inward look at yourself and like, what is it that like gets me excited? What are my giftings? What are my talents? What's the potential within that? And like aligning all those and like going and just betting on yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like it's seems to be getting a little more attention these days about follow your passion, do what you love. Maybe it's always been a thing. I don't know. It just feels like
I feel
maybe.
like it's definitely since social media and like the birth of the influencer.
Yeah.
And like even down to like Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
Like that whole like be yourself empowerment thing.
Yeah.
Right.
It's cheesy, but it's also like it's a good point. you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And like these influencers you're talking about, right? Like they're saying all the right things. Do they actually live it, or is it really true in their lives? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think some of the things that are being said out there are true. And to your point, that's shifted, right? Whereas like our parents and before, I feel like it was, okay, as soon as you're of age, you got to go get a job and you got to provide. That's it. Doesn't matter what it is. You just have to provide.
Yeah.
Like that's your job. And that's why we had like men that were in jobs, the same job or the same company for 50 plus years. Now you see people like, all right, I'm getting into finance. And then they realize, no, I actually want to be a zookeeper. And then they go like be a zookeeper. I mean, random stuff. Like you see that all the time, these like career changes. Like we had Rocky Garza as a guy that like we had on, like he went like traditional, like corporate route. And he's like, man, I hate this. Like I just want to teach people to find out who they are inside, like, and coach people to like really look inwardly and like coach that. And that's it's his profession. Is like he helps coach people.
Yeah, and I get the message. You know, I'm a father I've got 2 boys and a third one on the way. And maybe by the time this comes out, our third one will be here. But I get the message. You want to protect your kids, right? That's your number one goal as a parent. I want to protect my kids. And what's the safest, most foolproof way to protect your kids, you think, is go get a secure job, right? Go work the 9 to 5. You may not love it, but you can find aspects about it that you like, which, again, I'm all for. And you know, I'm all for finding the best in the situation. But 2023, modern times, it seems like, has brought about new opportunity to pursue things that maybe weren't safe or maybe aren't regarded as safe. But
or
now,
weren't even a thing back then.
Or weren't even a thing.
Like, there's so many of, you know, my cousin he sells courses for this guy online, and you can make a lot of money from your bedroom just selling courses, or, you know, being the guy who's creating the courses, or you know, Colby back there, he has a online business where he sells I don't know how I'm going to butcher it, but like Etsy store digital products, and he just
like
has
NFT-ish
money trickling in
type stuff.
It's more like images that ladies will like print on shirts and stuff.
Like, how random. Some dude in Grapevine is
images that
selling
you
ladies.
use to like,
And he's got money trickling in all day while he's just sitting with me, you know, doing art stuff.
Yes.
That is stuff that was never, ever a thing, even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
So I feel like, you know, to be an artist and to be somewhat successful as an artist, Instagram is the biggest. I saw that, and you see my Instagram. It's not like, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm doing from this point of view. It's here's what I'm doing from that point of view. Because I use it as a tool of like, you can see what I'm doing all day. I'm on your mind constantly all day because I'm always posting about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it's not the me show. It is, but it's not the me show. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
And I've always wanted what I do to speak for me, not what I say to speak for me. So if
Say that again for the people in the back.
Yeah.
I want people to do what I want people to do what I say. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I want people to see what I'm doing to speak for me, not what I'm saying I'm going to do to speak for me.
Yes.
I had a little bit of that, you know, early 20s where I was like, man, I'm going to do this. Man, I'm going to do this. And then I started seeing all my friends around me, not all, but like a few friends say the same thing. And I realized, y'all never do.
Doesn't mean
In the middle of that thought, I thought, I never do anything. Y'all are always saying you're about to open this. You're about to do this, but it never happens. And then I realized I was the one also doing that. So I started doing what I was going to say I was going to do.
Yeah.
And
sounds like a pretty simple plan.
It is, but there's
do
this
what
thing
you
called
say.
resistance that I've been hearing about where, you know, I'm sitting on my couch and I'm like, I guess I'll go get Chipotle before I get started. I eat Chipotle and I'm like, you know what? I'll find a good YouTube video so then I can have that going while I'm painting. Yeah. Oh, you know what? While I'm watching YouTube, I should definitely order this stuff on Amazon because I need to make sure. And it's 3 p.m. and I haven't even touched a paintbrush. That resistance, if you can just be like, no, and cut out all of the Chipotle on, you just go start working. That's what I feel like pushes the actual boundary of being able to live as an artist and not just be like, there's so many people who want to look like an artist and use the work as like a tool to their lifestyle instead of the lifestyle being the tool to their work. You know what I'm saying?
What is that resistance? And I know we're going to get to your story, but
Procrastination, ADD.
Why does it feel so good? Because I'm with you.
I don't know.
I'm right there with you.
It's good. So that whole snowstorm we just had, or the freeze, like 4 days about a month ago or something, I was at my studio that whole time, and my truck was locked, or my truck was in Grapevine. I was like stuck there. And for the 4 days, you would have thought, man, I could just paint all day. And I didn't touch the paintbrush. Yeah. I just, because it was the only thing I should do, I was like, no. So I just cooked a bunch of food, and I didn't even touch the Xbox. I just kind of like chilled for 4 days.
Yeah.
It was great.
What do you think that resistance is, Tyler? Why do we do that? I know there's a scientific reason. I'm sure it's in the dopamine book, but
I go through this every year with taxes. Every single year. Like, I know I got to get my accountant all the information. And every single time it's like, all right, I've got 3 hours that I can like plug away at this. You know what? I'm going to go do some yard work, or I'm going to go figure something out. Like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's me. And it's always like, I got to do something else. Or I got to do something else. I got to do something else. When it's like, how good does it feel when you do what you're supposed to do and you get it done? And I don't understand that. I was that way with schoolwork. It was like, all right, I know I got a paper coming up in like 2 weeks, so I'll start it in a week and a half. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was like that was like me. But it's funny. It's things that things that I like love doing, I really truly like will do.
Right.
And then there's things that it's like, all right, I have to do them, or there's an obligation to do them. I just like, you push back on it.
Yeah.
But
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. So let's dig into your story a little bit, Michael, and we'll ask you at the end, but your Instagram handle is what again?
At Michael Shellis,
Okay.
Shellis.
Got it. All right, we'll plug that in at the end. But yeah,
Thank
you got to go follow him because it's he's doing some really cool, creative,
Thank you.
eye-stimulating projects.
Dude, that's what I say. I want to have an aquarium for your eyes.
It
When you're staring at your
Ah.
painting, it is what it is. People buy paintings because they want to stare at it with their friend with a glass of wine. So yeah, I had the artist actually I commissioned the artist to say this and this. But whenever they're doing that, I want to like mess with the owner and be like, there's pieces in there you've never even seen until I point it out to you. And by that, I just layer a bunch of images. So then I'll show you like, there's your name is in the background. It's been there for a month and you haven't seen it. Now I show you can't unsee it.
Yes.
Things like that through painting and like almost like you're crossing your eyes.
yeah.
Yeah,
What
it's-
were the eye books? What was the? We
We were talking about that the other day.
Yeah. What are those called?
The illusion books.
Yeah. You know which ones I'm talking about?
I do. Yeah, I don't know what to call it.
They
But yeah.
have the patterns, and you've got to be
Yes.
able to see the picture
Yes.
behind it. Deal. Yeah.
Yeah, and that-
never was good at
That was
that.
little me in the library, like
Yeah. And that's what stuck out to me about your art. It's not like you're painting a seascape or
Yeah.
a mountain, a pretty sunset and a mountain, which are great. I love those. But to your point, you're putting layers and layers, and I think you're working on one. It's like is it a Porsche painting?
I'm working on a lot of cars right now. It's all
Yeah.
commissions. I have like 5 Ferrari commissions.
Yeah,
And
Ferrari. That's what it is. And you keep
Those
in
kissing
different posts.
Ferrari.
You keep putting different. It's been like a week now. Or
I'm
how-
actually delivering it tonight. He
Yeah.
wants me to go present it to this guy. His name is, his actual name is Michael Jackson, but he's not the Michael Jackson.
the Michael Jackson.
But he loves Kiss the band and loves his Ferrari.
Yeah.
So the guy was like, "It's a birthday present. It's a big surprise." And he goes, "Can you like combine Kiss and Ferrari?" So we were standing in the kitchen, and Colby actually goes, "Why don't you write Kiss Me in the Ferrari above it?" And I was like, "That's amazing." So little things like that. Just
Yes.
Dude, that's
well, at
cool.
first, like you did because you cut it off. You keep going in segments of unveiling more and more of what you're doing. And at first, like that's cool, but I mean that's nothing crazy. And then it just keeps getting crazier
Exactly.
and crazier every time.
Yeah. Yeah, don't take it for the first story ever.
Right,
It's
ever.
By
Yeah.
the end of the stories, you'll see.
Keep
what it's
following
at.
them.
Love
Don't unfollow. So anyway, do want to dig into that a little bit more about art as a skill, art as a profession. But how did you even get into it? Were you always an artist growing up? I'm
Yeah.
assuming. Has it always been a skill you've had?
Yeah, since I can remember, I've had an art studio in my bedroom, in my game room. My parents were like, I think my parents are the biggest reason that I'm able to have a successful career today, because they fostered it, and they never all of their friends. I remember like sitting in the table and being like, "I'm right here," and they're like, "That boy's too crazy. You need to put him on Ritalin, and you need to. Why are you letting him paint the walls?" And my dad was like, "We'll just repaint it when we leave. It's like $40 at Home Depot."
Yeah.
So they gave me the whole game room. I had like a 1,800 square foot bedroom. I had a music, every instrument you could think of. I play pretty much everything on stage plus saxophone. So I had a whole band thing, a gym, 2 beds, a hammock, a kitchen, a living room, and an art
Jeez.
studio in my bedroom in high school. So it fostered this creativity of just like everything.
Yeah.
But so my biggest, I guess, like testimony line in the sand of whenever I decided like, oh no, I should figure my life out. I was a senior in high school. I was 6 weeks into it, and I had been at that school for 13 years since kindergarten. And I went TPing in toilet paper.
Oh yeah.
Everybody does it.
Everybody does it.
It's a really long story. Maybe next time. But to sum it up, I TP'd a disgruntled ex-employee of my dad's company, and we had caught him in a FEMA contract lying and stealing from the government. And so there was really bad blood there.
Yeah.
And for some reason in my genius, 18-year-old head, I was like, let's TP her.
Well, I mean, in your defense, 18-year-olds know everything.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
they never miss the mark. So it was probably the right decision.
in my mind. But, so we did the deed. And this was like that moment in your life where you realize like that one thing forever butterfly affected my entire life. I had my carabiner on my keys, and I went to clip it, in high school. I'm a little like emo band kid. Of course, I have skinny jeans and a carabiner.
Is there a chain on the carabiner?
No chain. I wasn't like that.
Okay. Didn't
I
do
was a
the
cool
chain.
kid.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No Hot Topic.
Yeah.
What about the puka shells?
Yeah,
Ben was a big
I was
fan
a big
of
I
puka
did
shells.
have some puka shells.
Yeah. Spiked hair.
Dude, I had beautiful hair. I miss it. Every morning I wake up and I think, where'd it go?
Yeah, if you're not watching, he's bald today. So he used to have a luscious head of lettuce for sure.
But no, I went to carabiner and I dropped my keys, went back to pick up my keys and got caught. Long story short, they went after my dad through me, let the other 3 go. I went to jail. They tried to get me in jail for 6 months for criminal mischief. Their daughter was a drug addict, and not drug addict, but partied too hard, and ended up having like an OD. So they pinned it and said she was trying to commit suicide from mental anguish from the bullying. And I'm like,
Oh my god.
From teeping?
well, it's all because of to get back at my dad.
Yeah.
So all of that, I got expelled from my high school because I was a private, strict school. And that was like, at the time, was devastating because I was like Mr. High School, all the friends, to like nothing. Instead of, and this is like, looking back, I feel like this is where God intervened in my life in the biggest way. Because instead of doing what I was supposed to do, like go off the rails and party and blah, 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 I ended up going into fellowship church and just got like stuck in there for about 5 years. And that's where I learned all about production, on how to become a creative, and for the first time, being from such a crazy like school that I would literally get paddled like with a big old frat paddle if I drew on my arms, because they said it was tattoos, and tattoos are a sin. But
Wow.
yeah, it was pretty bad. So that church was the first time ever, other than my parents, that they were like, great, run with it. Do what you want, be yourself, blah, blah, blah. And I was able to, just flesh out my creativity.
Yeah.
From there, the whole time I was working for my dad. He's a commercial roofing company, and just babysitting jobs and stuff. Kind of wondering, like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And, praying, but it's funny, I was actually trying to be an actor for like 5 years, 6 years. I was in school, did pretty well at the school. I was signed with Kim Dawson in Dallas. And it's funny that there's something, I can't remember the verse, but it says God will know like the intimacy of your heart, or the intimate wants and earns and desires. I can't remember the verse, but layman's terms.
I'll find it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
I wanted to be an actor, and I never told anybody this, but I wanted to be an actor so I could make a lot of money so I could paint all day. Because I never thought you could paint all day.
Right.
And you see these people in galleries and stuff, and I always thought like, well, they're just like, established.
Yeah.
And I had this like click in my head one day when I was about 21. Well, somebody's going to be the next established person in 40 years.
Yeah.
Why don't I be that guy they're just established.
Yeah.
So, my dad raised me door knocking for roofs and stuff. So I've never had a problem just walking in and being like, hi. I door knocked pretty much every gallery in Dallas and got all no's except for one. And it wasn't even a gallery. It was like it's kind of a gallery, but Stephen Griffin, he's amazing. Griffin Trading Co. Gave me my first shot. I ended up selling like 5 pieces of a collection I did, and that gave me like a trickle. And then that turned into a few different women, Jen Miller in Dallas and Veronica Birkenstock in Frisco. Both of them like took me and said, go. They threw me these awesome art shows, art parties in their homes, and invited all their friends. And that gave me like a big chunk of money to live for 6 months.
Yep.
And at the time I was living with my parents. So I was big chunks of money. And at the beginning I was like, boys, let's go to Vegas. And I upgraded my friend's room to the suite. And your typical 21-year-old with a lot of money.
Right.
Only
Then I
person
started
that knows more than an 18-year-old is a 21-year-old.
With lots of money.
Yeah. But I started wising up and ended up saving and buying a house at 24. And then that turned into me working out of my garage as a tax write-off for the last 6 years. And then this past year, almost a year ago, this weekish, I opened my art studio in Dallas. So I have like a big, open, beautiful warehouse finally, because I've been like stuck in this 2-car garage for 6 years. But yeah, that was it. And I think what you said earlier just hits home on it of bet on yourself. Because what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
You have to go get a job. Okay. Well, at least you tried.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, I want to take a quick minute to talk about our partner, Choctaw Casino and Resort. We are really, really humbled and grateful to be a partner for them. If you've listened to this show for any amount of time, You've heard how great the resort is there, how great the casino is, the new expansion. They've doubled in size, 3,000 new slots. They've got unbelievable sports bar. They've got unbelievable restaurants, unbelievable movie theaters, arcades for kids. It is endless, the things that they've not only improved but added. But it's just the experience that they provide is second to none. Choctaw Nation has done an incredible job with the community, with philanthropy, with support. They have just done incredible things. So we are extremely humbled and grateful to partner with Choctaw Casino and Resort. Make sure, I know you know it, it's just a short drive up 75. Go check them out. And now back to the episode. Yeah.
Couple places my mind goes breaking that down, which that was awesome. That was an awesome run through of your story. I think the first place my mind goes is to your parents and them cultivating this desire of yours. Were they artists at all? Did they know anything about art?
No, my mom was a hairstylist and my dad is a
Commercial roofer.
But from London.
Yeah.
Talk about betting on yourself. Dude moved here when he was 22 or 23, met my mom in the airport, in DFW airport.
Like when he moved here?
Well, he was coming here for a vacation with a buddy.
Oh.
Met my mom in the airport. They fell in love. He went back to London, sold everything he had, came back here and started a roofing company. And that was in 1990. And then had me 2 years later.
Dang.
So, just like, sure, let's go for it. Yeah.
Dude, that's what's so crazy to me. Like and the whole thing of like, just start, just get going. Like forget Chipotle, just get going. Like we think that these careers and, you know, these big, huge projects or accomplishments, like, oh, they're just more like gifted, or they have something different, or somebody handed it to them. There's always some reason why they got to it. No, they just started.
Yeah.
Like they just started. Like you don't have to be the smartest person. You don't have to be the most intelligent. Like you don't need
a business plan.
You don't need a business plan. You don't have to have the most money. You don't have to have all these things. Like you just have to start. And like you said, bet on yourself. And like your dad, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna sell it. Let's go. I'm gonna go. I'll figure something out. I'll do something there. And you do, but you just have to start. Yeah, you may have to start small. Yeah, you may have to like make some sacrifices on the front end, like you know, not upgrade your buddy's suite at Vegas, but like
I so badly want a 1969
non-negotiable there.
Yeah, no, but like you know, I want the Mustang 1969 350 SS, like you know, some bad muscle cars or something fun. But every time I do it, I'm like, I could make this money work something else.
You're telling me that like these big purchases, these big, I'm gonna throw out the air quotes for those not watching, the Instagram purchase don't fulfill you and like give you all the satisfaction that you thought it would?
No, not at all. Because I realized the vacations don't help because you follow yourself everywhere around the world. So I can be miserable in Dallas or miserable in Greece. Greece didn't even make me happy. It's what's in here that makes me happy, and what I'm doing every day that makes me happy. Yeah. So if something's wrong with me, I don't need to be like, oh, a vacation will fix it. No, a vacation just like, in my opinion, highlights it. And then you're more of like, dang, I'm all the way in this beautiful place and I'm still like, doesn't do it for me. So my rule is I want like a 4-day vacation anywhere in the world. I just can't do long vacations.
Yeah, that realization is the biggest bummer ever, but it's also the most freeing thing ever to realize.
Then you can work on yourself and realize how to be happy and who makes you happy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you were working for your dad, and you walk us through like the mindset that you had, and like, you know what, like forget it, I'm going to try it. Like, what was that decision in your mind, like to actually like go in and go for it? Like, obviously you're like, okay, I got to walk and knock on doors at galleries, but like really to say, look, no, I'm going to go all in on it.
Yeah. So I started doing this thing where I just decided it's very much like the if you build it, they will come. Dream of Field or Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams, yeah. Kevin Costner. It's a good one.
If I paint it, they will come. So I started painting like I had a big show coming up. Like, you know, just every single day, painting. And I probably popped out like 200 paintings in about a year. And then, and this is where I believe God and energy and thinking towards things really does help and work, because out of nowhere, I had a big show that was coming up. And I had all this art. But also sometimes I'll be talking to a guy in New York, and I'll just say, because I know that they're going to buy it, I'll be like, oh, I'll be in New York delivering a piece in about a month or two anyways. Great.
Yeah.
Buys it. And I'm like, told you I'd be in New York in about a month or two delivering a piece.
It's called the assumptive sale.
Yeah. But
assume the sale. Yep.
Yeah. So stuff like that. But going back to my dad would wake me up every morning when I was, living at the house, but not in high school and not in college because I didn't go to college. And in a nice way, with a energy drink or a little coffee thing he'd make me. All right, mate, good morning. And I'd be like, yes. And he'd always have coffee breath because he's up since like 6 a.m. And he'd go, all right, mate, good morning. Go make some money. And put the coffee down and walk out the door every morning. So now every morning I wake up and I'm like, go make some money.
You got to say it in his accent in your head, though.
Go make some money, mate. Yeah.
As your parents, it's one thing to encourage and cultivate this skill whenever you're a kid and you're 12 and there's really no harm.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we're talking about the protection thing and safety, and it's another to allow you to pursue, not allow you, but encourage you in that pursuit whenever you're trying to support yourself. Was there any reservations at all from your parents whenever you started to try to make this career?
My parents were the biggest cheerleaders, and actually that's how I met both of the ladies, Jen and Veronica, was because my parents were talking. They were on board for both different things. And what can we have for this year's charity auction? It was Best Buddies was like the big break. It's for intellectually challenged adults and gives them like an amazing job program and a buddy program.
That's like My Possibilities, right? Isn't it? Best Buddies is that through My Possibilities?
No, it's its own thing, but I think it's very similar.
Okay.
It could. I don't think it is. It's by Anthony Shriver. Not Anthony Shriver. Whatever. Anyways, so that was, we need an auction piece. And my mom said, or she showed her a painting I did. Oh my God, would he do one? She goes, he'll do 10. And they came home and went, I just changed your life. I was like, what? She goes, well, I just got you 10 commissions. You're going to have to do them all for free, but it's going to kickstart. And I was like, okay. So I spent like 6 months painting for free. And then all of that led to like, hey, I got a painting, but I have another wall. Can you come talk? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then same thing with my dad. But the biggest thing is, he was always just like, okay, yeah, go start. Yeah. Well, what do I do? I had a window cleaning business once. And I was like, well, what do you mean go start? He's like, well, make a website for 10 minutes and one of these Wix or something like that. Get a phone number and just start. Wow, it really is that easy. You don't have to pre-think it and have a 10-year business plan. And I ended up making enough money to like go out with my friends for the season.
Yeah.
And then I realized I don't want to wash windows because two douchebags came up and said something to me. Hey, bro, missed a spot. And they were like my age. And I remember thinking like, dang, in a different life, I would have been that guy.
Yeah.
Not to say like I would have been the guy and be like, yeah, good job. You just dissed him. But more of like, I would have been the corporate guy going to lunch on his break. And I had that chip on my shoulder. Yeah. But I'm freaking washing windows and I didn't go to college. Dang, maybe everybody was right.
Yeah.
So that chip still is what I wake up to and like, I have to do this because I'm not going to go get a job.
What about the negative talk during this when you're just getting started? Was that a thing at all for you?
I don't think it stops when it's just getting started. I'm still like, they call it imposter syndrome or something. But to me, imposter syndrome tells everybody that I said that to that I think I've made it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to own commercial property and be like art. I want to be that guy that people go, how the heck did he make so much money? Yeah. Well, he made some money in art and then parlayed that into everything else.
Yeah.
And then so I can have paint on my hands for the rest of my life.
Yes.
And never have to be like, sorry, sir, let me go get that off in the bathroom. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
it's fun.
No, I mean, because I imagine, because you never finished high school, or did you?
I kind of did. I went to like a homeschooling thing to get my diploma, my college grad diploma or my college prep diploma.
Yeah.
I wanted to get my GED and my parents wouldn't let me because they're like, no, we paid 13 years for you to get a college prep education. This is the place you can get it.
Yeah.
And nobody's once asked to see my credentials.
Like, hold on. Before I pay you for the painting, let me see your.
Was it GED or college prep?
Yeah, what was your GPA, sir?
Sorry.
But I do got to imagine there's some points in there, the negative talk where you're thinking, man, I really screwed this up.
Oh yeah. That happens every day when I'm painting. Yeah. I know and he knows it's a good painting, and I have a mini panic attack halfway through. I'm like, oh man, I should paint over it. And a lot of times I do paint over it, but I think being the hardest person on yourself takes it away from other people. Yeah. Like there was some comedian They're like, anything you can say bad about me, I've already said 6 inches from the mirror.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, 100%.
Go for it.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah, no chance anybody said anything as mean to me that I say to
Oh
I haven't said to myself.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
chance.
For sure.
And that's how you keep accountable. And I feel like that is something that has shifted in our culture as men being men. And now it's like, well, how are you feeling? Do you want to sit down and talk about it? And there is a time and place for that. But when you're coddled so much and everybody's like, well, you just hurt my feelings. I would be in acting class and there'd be grown men crying because the acting coach would chew them out. I'm like, have you ever had your face mask shaken in your face? You know, yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir.
That's
That's a bread and butter play, damn it.
and whipping your helmet so your
37
ears are
power
ringing.
or 36 power.
Yeah, absolutely.
For a dyslexic kid, I'm like, I don't know where the holes are.
Wait, is it the 6 side or the 3 side?
God.
Yeah, not to be meathead football guy, but yeah, I would love. I mean, every kid needs to play a team sport
I agree,
for that
man.
reason.
'Cause
Whether you have a talent or not, that
skin.
for that
Yes,
reason, yeah, getting that
yes.
thick skin.
Show up late to practice, and I had to sit in the middle of the field while everybody ran around me. I never was late again.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like,
That's
there's
skills, man.
Look,
That was bad.
kids learn from real consequences, and we've removed consequences from kids' actions.
Yeah, 100%.
And so to actually like make them feel a little bit of pain is a good thing, and they respond to it, and they want it. They crave, like kids,
Boundaries, yeah.
They crave boundaries, and they crave like discipline and direction. And like, sounds like totally like a disciplinarian. Like, oh, my kids crave getting spanked, so I'm gonna spank them. That's not what I'm saying.
that's where it's gotten
That's not
away.
what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I'm saying that like those kinds of things are great for kids, and we're so soft with kids now. And like even coach flag football, and I'm lucky enough that I'm in a community that still kind of encourages more of the old school mentality. And like, hey, look, I like one kid during the middle of practice, like talked back to his mom, really disrespectful. And I ran his ass for 30 minutes
Good job,
because he
coach.
talked to his mom. And like the other parents came up, were like, hey, if my kid ever says anything, or if he talks to me at home, and can you run him here? And I'm like, I will, but you should probably also discipline at home.
Yeah,
because
I'm not gonna become
gonna
the
be the only
disciplinarian.
disciplinarian. I will, but like, but it's exactly right. Like football is a sport, and other sports too, right? Even in our business, like if there's something, I always ask either clients or I'll ask like vendors that we work with, like, hey, please just be honest with me. Trust me, I can take criticism. Like when a 275-pound African-American man is telling me that I should go kill myself because I'm stealing oxygen from everybody else on the planet. Like, I'm pretty sure I can get some criticism on my financial analysis because one of the formulas is wrong. Just be honest with me.
Yeah.
Like, coach me, like help me out so that I can be better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
do get
we
weird
won't do
looks in
that.
my day job when I tell people, "Coach me up."
Yeah.
Like, I'm not afraid of a little feedback. Tell me. And they're kind of like weirded out, but that's exactly right because that's been ingrained in us.
How is he supposed to get better?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
So walk us through, like I'm blown away at the creative aspect
you.
of this because like what you are able to put on canvas, or paper, whatever,
Or
you
a
wanna
wall.
or a wall, like it blows my mind because how do you get like through and see things? Like you said, just the layers, right? Like I'm so linear. It's like, okay, that. Like if you're like, all right, go create a piece of art. I'm like, okay, there's some mountains, there's a lake, there's the sun setting with the sun rays coming off of it. Like that's me, right? Like I just can't think through that kind of depth. Like is that something you cultivate? Do you feel like some people are just born thinking differently? What is it what is it in your giftings that you feel like that's contributed to?
So, 2 things. One, what we already talked about, just start. Of a lot of times, like these Ferrari commissions I have right now, I don't know where to start. I've had one from this one guy, and he actually DM'd me TikTok on that painting. And I was like, sorry.
No
I'm
pressure?
just stuck on it creatively. I painted over it twice already.
Yeah.
Starting, just put something on it, and then you have something to grasp onto, and then you can start. It's a roller coaster of a life when I'm painting commissions or even my own things. Because I paint something, I hate it, and there's no erasing it in real life. On the computer, you can, Command Z or something. But the other thing, though, and I think the biggest thing for me in my life, as I'm sure you can tell with my eyes darting around, is I was diagnosed with ADD and ADHD and dyslexia and dysgraphia and ABCD and 1, 2, 3, 4, everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I went to Cook's Children as a child, and they were like, So, and
It's going to be a challenge for you.
yeah, it actually, so funny enough, my parents chose to not medicate me because my mom was told by everybody, and so was my dad, to put me on Ritalin or some other drug. And they're like, absolutely not. I'm not going to numb my child out just because you don't like him talking in class.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I would have made that same decision if I was their age. Now that we know everything and, the internet has shown us other ways. Back in the 90s, that was in the 90s.
That's tough.
Is like to be like, no, and not be one of the granola nuts.
Yeah.
Because back then you were either like a granola nut or like, I like football.
Yeah.
There's no like, well, I kind of see the difference.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that, I think, has allowed me to be completely ADD, I suppose, that's where, my mind when I'm painting is 10,000 different things. That's why I work on like 6 or 7 paintings at once because I just can't. I've realized and I've learned about my mind and myself so much so that my mom has helped me a lot of being like, this is how your brain works. Notice that and just work from that going out instead of saying, my brain doesn't work. I need to make it like everybody else's. Think, how does your brain work and how can I best make that work for me?
Yeah.
In my life, it's just being really busy all the time.
Yeah.
And I love it. And when I'm not busy, I start hearing like, the AC click on or like, something in the walls, the water dripping or something. It just kind of becomes heightened. And if I'm staying really busy, I'm happy.
So you're Superman. Pretty much what you're saying. just a superhero. I can hear and see everything.
No.
Okay, so let's just say you're working on a project. So what you're saying is like, okay, if I'm on this and my mind goes on to something else, embrace it and go work on that. Or like, okay, while I've got it, capture it, go use it. Because again, that's totally contrary. It's like, no, lock in, focus. You do your 30 minutes of focus on this one thing, and then you take a break, and then you go back to it.
Right.
Like the whole, typical like productivity deal. So you're saying it's like, all right.
Well, it's even like in the grocery store of like, so I love to cook. Cooking is like my thing. It's my hobby, I suppose. When I was painting a guy's Fred Armistad, whatever, the guy with like got the cane and he's kicking sideways.
Oh yeah.
Tipping his top hat. I was painting that in a painting I was doing, and I was picking up a can of it's the Black Label, the ranch beans.
Yeah.
Black. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I picked it up and I thought that looks like a top hat. Oh, I'm painting a top hat. So I take the ranch style beans and I paint it as his top hat in the painting. So it's like constantly thinking about everything all day. And just knowing like, and while I'm there, I'm also getting toilet paper for my event space. I have like a side hustle business in Grapevine.
Oh.
And it's just like, I don't know, it's just a lot. And I love it.
So you just get inspired by daily, average, everyday things sometimes.
Yes. And also procrastination is a tool.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think that there's like perfect example, this piece I'm delivering, the Ferrari and Kiss painting tonight. I did that in a week because I procrastinated on it I got the commission during the freeze and I've only started the week before. I'm like, okay, now I'll do it.
Yeah.
Because I know there's no out. You have to just
you need
get
that,
it
that
done.
pressure. Yeah.
That's where I'm like, okay, now I'll just bust it.
Right.
When I have all the time in the world, I'm like, you want to go skiing?
Yeah. You know what I love about and we keep talking, I keep going back to parenting and your parents, and it was a mixture of wisdom of guardrails, but not claustrophobia.
Yeah, and they also
Like,
made sure I was never not doing anything. I wasn't
Yeah.
sitting at home doing nothing. I was fine not having a job and not being in college as long as I was up to something
Yeah.
Yeah.
or had a plan I was working towards. So
Right.
that's what, and they're both raw entrepreneurs that have figured it out along the way. So I grew up, like family dinner table talks for me was like, I'd hear my dad's net and gross and material costs with labor costs. And like, so I understood how to like price a roof at 12
Yeah.
because that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, my other friend was like, "Oh, we're not allowed to talk about money at the house."
Right.
I'm like, "Huh?"
See, so that's a great point. I mean, just exposing your kids, like you said, they gave you the opportunity with instruments, with a space to like let your mind go do walls to do what you want to do. But then also like we don't give kids credit. Like we've had some people on, some of their thing is like, I bring my kids to business meetings, like, and they'll sit in and listen to business meetings because the things that they can learn and grasp and how much further ahead are they going to be when other kids are just focused on college and getting through classes and surviving? Oh, and then I'm going to figure out what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like if you give your kids the chance to experience some things, maybe they won't be out searching for what they want to do when they're 30, 35, or changing careers at 50.
Yeah.
They had no idea. They just picked something.
Well, I think so many parents come from a place of, and I understand it, of fear that their kid is going to be looked at as a failure. So they revert back to what they know. You have to go to college. You have to do this. And they're teaching, not all of them, but a lot of the byproduct of that is you teach your kid to get an A, and then he gets out of that last A in college when he's 22, and he has to go look at the world and like, nobody cares if you're good at tests. Can you talk, and can you be fun to be around? And that is where I think it shines of, I was exactly that. I was in, like, he's also residential, so we'd be in the kitchen of some couple, and I would watch him just do this thing where he'd like slide the contract across the table and just not talk. And they would always sign the contract. So it's like little things you pick up, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
So
100%. Silence is powerful. Like,
Absolutely.
It's the most awkward. People will do something that they're not prepared to do just to avoid the silence. That's so true.
There's been some times where people just say weird things. I'm like, what? And they're in their head and they're like, oh, sorry, what were we talking about? Wait, what? Just because I stopped talking.
So what's your style? How do you describe your style? What's the technical artistic term for that? Because you didn't go to school for art. You went to the school of hard knocks, and you just experience taught you.
Yeah.
But is there like a style? Is there a name for the style that you are?
No, I don't know. I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
But I would
Abstract,
say
I guess, maybe?
contemporary.
Yeah.
So in my definition, contemporary artist means I do everything. So I can I can build a sculpture out of used paintbrush materials and call it a sculpture, but because I'm not a abstract artist. I'm not a landscape artist. I make creative things that could be out of your old truck tires, or that could be out of paint, you know? Whatever it is, I can make art out of it. So that's how I view myself.
It doesn't seem like you're confined to boxes. You're the kid that I'm ripping that thing up, man. I'm thinking way outside this box.
Yeah,
there's no box thinking for you.
It's funny. Actually, I need to get on this. I have an idea for a painting where I want to have, like, imagine a tiny box and some guy being shoved in it, almost kind of like if you were to fall in like a little bit of a bigger toilet.
Yeah.
Like kind of, limbs out. But then I want like a bunch of little stick figures trying to shove this guy in with poles. And it's like all these little people are trying to shove you in a box. Who cares? You can just get up. And that's when I realized there's this thing in the world where everybody thinks there's these rules. There's not.
There's no rules.
There's not. As long as you're not breaking the law, you could do whatever you want.
There's a lot of freedom when you realize that nobody really gives a damn what you do or who you are.
That's the thing.
And they're not thinking about you.
They're not thinking
they
about
don't
you.
care. No, they don't.
Yeah.
They
Like
do
you're
not.
letting them not thinking that they care when they really don't stop you from doing what really truly could make you happy.
Yeah, you're living your life for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, what are you?
Why?
What are you doing?
What do you say to the person listening to this who it's like we're talking about, they're in the corporate job, they're sitting in their cubicle, they have this dream or this passion outside of the work, but they think they need to stay there. What's your encouragement to that person who's sitting here thinking, I want to do it, but I just can't?
Yeah, so I've been asked that a lot, and I used to be like, just jump, just go for it. But realization, I have friends like that, and like with kids, as a good friend, I'd be like, do not quit your job right now.
Yeah.
Like, just start reusing your free time.
Yeah.
So many people are like, but I work all day. I'm like, okay, you can make a website in about a night or two, and every night you get home, instead of like turning on ESPN or Xbox or whatever you're doing, time and place, go for it. But also like go for it when you feel like you've earned it.
Yeah.
When you're sitting in your brand new man cave because the side hustle you just did let you build an extension on.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that.
You know who that sounds like? Who does that remind you of that phrase that he just said? Or that
Andy?
Well, yeah, but I'm thinking of Josh Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know anything about, have you heard of Montana Knife Company? Have you heard of them?
It rings a bell.
Yeah. So this guy made knives his whole life, but
Yeah, like
up until
20 plus years.
but up until like 3 years ago, he'd never really made it a profession. It was more just like a hobby side
no.
thing.
He did for like 15 years, but he was doing like one at a time.
Right.
Like very, very custom.
Like in your garage sort of thing.
And then like 08 hit, and it was like nobody was spending 10 grand on a custom blade. And so then he went to work for the energy company.
Yeah. And so anyway, a couple years ago, he started his own knife company, Montana Knife Company. But he said that exact thing, which is, yeah, maybe you do have a job all day long, but you've got nights and mornings, you've got weekends, you've got time if it's something you really want to do.
Yeah.
And he's a super successful knife maker, which again, it's like there's no rules to life.
Which
you can make knives for a living.
I'm almost done with his collection, by the way. My wife.
I need to
wife
look
hates
into this.
dude.
I love
He's
knives.
awesome.
Hey, no,
He's awesome.
badass.
Okay, yeah, I need to.
I'm not a hunter or outdoorsman at all, and I want one because
It's to the
like,
point
they're
where
so cool.
he has launched, like when he releases a blade, they're sold out in 6 minutes.
No way.
And then there's been 2 launches where it's like, hey, we're always gonna have these 2 knives in stock. Like always, we're ordering enough, like tens of thousands of them, like because they make everything domestic. They do it all right. They sharpen them by hand. They do. I mean, he's one of the master blade smiths. There's only like 10 of them or something like that.
Yeah, I need this guy's contact.
Yeah.
That sounds
And so
cool.
like always going to be in stock. We always want you to be able to. Sorry, we sold out in like 3 days. Like crazy.
I love that though. And
Yeah,
that
it's
that
awesome.
shows you like anything you want to do.
Exactly.
I have a guy, Odin Clack Leather. I think it's just called Odin Leather on Instagram. Odin Clack, C-O-A-R-K, Clark.
Yeah.
Something. Sorry,
Yeah.
Odin. Same thing. I grew up with him, or not grew up, but I was serving at church with him, and he was into like doing leather things. Then he started out of his garage. Then he got so many big orders that he has a full blown shop, showroom, workshop in the back with like 5 employees. Like the dude is busting it and making like an entire Louis Vuitton store worth of leather goods, all from his garage 10 years ago.
Dang.
And then I think instant gratification is a big thing as well. Of like,
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm the worst at it, but I also have felt it so many times. That's why I love projects.
If I can't
Extended.
do what they're doing right now, then I'm not good enough to do it. It's like, no. Like we had a buddy of mine, leather maker, kind of same deal. He literally was like in San Antonio living in like a metal barn, like no insulation, living in a metal barn he's like, it was when the pandemic started. He's like, I literally for a year and a half, 2 years, I maybe saw someone once a month, maybe. I was just working. Like I was working 10 hours a day, just kind of fulfilling orders. And like, that's what it takes. Like, it's not sexy. It's not like, hey, I haven't arrived, but it takes time. But guess what? When you are there, you're going to be the person that everybody looks at like, oh, you just
He's getting
arrived.
this much for one knife?
Yeah.
This much for one painting?
Yeah.
No,
That was 30 years of knives.
No, it takes some grind. Be willing to do that.
Yeah.
I want to ask you when you made the shift to painting professionally, right, and providing income, did it change your passion for painting?
It's a great question. I've never been
That
asked
is a
that
great
before.
question.
It's a really good question. So with the whole working for my dad thing and like feathering the clutch on like, do I go stop showing up to this job and start just painting in my garage all day? It's weird. My dad, started this company out of a $50 check in 1990, and his idea and his dream was to pass it on to me. Well,
You screwed those dreams up.
so, we never had the talk of like, I don't want to do this. But, you're on a construction site for long enough. You're like, now it is good money and it's great. But to me, I just wanted to paint. So for him, he had the best reaction ever. He's like, go for it. You have the best fallback plan ever.
Yeah.
It's the worst that can happen.
Yeah.
Come work for me
Oh,
again.
man, that's
and
awesome.
I'll just become a salesman. And like, I would be doing pretty well if I was in the roofing industry. But I wanted to paint. And that's what he let me do. And, supported me living with them for the whole time while I lived with them for 2 years, not working for my dad while living at home working
Painting.
And it was really cool because my mom actually has a sex trafficking ministry called Bochys Place, Bochys.
We need to talk. I support that industry.
Really?
Not as a customer. as a combatant. Sorry.
Yeah, good.
Sorry, I gotta
clarification
clarify.
there.
I'm a huge supporter of that industry.
No, but that was the coolest time in my life because she was birthing that ministry, and I was starting my art career, and we were both like at home all day because she's had 6 restaurants. They've always been like, we've always been doing a lot.
Yeah.
And for her to be at home during the day, like something's up, something's brewing. She taught herself how to edit, how to shoot, how to do Bible studies, blah, blah, blah. And now we have a safe house in somewhere, I can't tell y'all, with I think 7 residents. And her plan is to have 70 residents in the next 2 years or something like that.
Love it. And obviously here in DFW the last few months, like it's been a huge
Dude, it's a hub.
Dude, it's insane. It's
Yeah.
insane.
The girl that got picked up at the Mavericks game.
Yeah, it was a while ago. But I mean, what we're seeing, especially like from the cyber sex trafficking side of it, it's just it's devastating to see. I mean, and yeah.
But that whole lifestyle of just like learning how to get it done sort of thing was the biggest beneficiary to me, because I could have the confidence to go try something.
Yeah.
Once I started getting into it and having to fulfill orders and stuff, that's a super good question, because there was a lot of the time where I would have to like, man, I don't want to paint. And that's where I think the side hustle is like, you think, do what you love. You'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
Like, you never will work a day in your life, but you're going to have to work some all-nighters. Nobody talks about the nighttime, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's a great answer.
That's great.
Yeah.
But I love it, though. I said I wouldn't trade it for the world, but there is the grind still in having to work for yourself of like, dang, I got to get all this done.
Yeah.
And I have to try and balance. Like, I'm doing like 5 or 6 different murals right now with 5 or 6 different commissions. And everybody's asking me, thank God I have Colby in my life, because he keeps everything on track.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for me, I'd be not responding to everybody.
You know, another thing that I think, at least when I hear stories like yours, that I forget about, the part I forget about is you have to be good. You can't just like pursuing a passion. That's awesome. Like, and you're probably going to get, but there has to be a talent. There has to be an ability. There has to be something of value that you're bringing to it. It can't just be all heart and no ability. So
something I think is really important, especially in the chasing your dreams thing, is, you know, setting yourself apart from the rest of the group. Because I always looked at artists, and you think about an artist, and you kind of like the term starving artist. Can't tell you how many times I've heard that. Darling, I'm not starving. Come to one of my barbecues. But the term starving artist always stuck with me, and I always thought, okay, what are they doing? They're going to the, you know, and it's no shade, because that's a great industry, but like the Deep Ellum Arts Festival, where you have like the little tent down the middle of the main street, and you're selling your art on like a chain link fence. You know, you're buying like $200, $500 pieces of art. And I always saw that and thought, no, I'm starting from a really high price from the very beginning. Instead of trying to work my way up, just going to like put my cards down and make you call my bluff.
Yeah.
And it worked. And one painting lets me live for a month instead of 10 paintings lets me live for a week. Yeah. Just think about it. Right. So many artists are like, they do pieces on paper. Yeah. And I'm like, beautiful. But nobody wants to buy that and put it in their house.
Yeah. Nobody's going to put it in a frame and put it by their bed.
Go to Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
Big canvas, like $80 and paint it. And then somebody would buy it for like $5-6 grand instead of $200.
Yes.
What are you going to do $200? Yeah. It's like 5 DoorDashes max.
Right. Right.
But that's true. So do you, doing it with that approach, do you feel like it did allow some freedom to enjoy it a little bit more? Because now I don't have a list of, all right, I got to paint 100 paintings this month to accomplish what I want. Now I can just do 6.
Yeah, I have a rule, 1 for them, 1 for me. So I'll paint a commission, and then I'll do something I like.
I like that.
Like a cool James Dean piece. Or like I just did a piece where I took all of my, if you see my studio, it's kind of always like a mess of like spray paint, spilt paint, paintbrushes, buckets, all that stuff. So I saw it the other day, and I thought, I'm going to encapsulate that. So I put a big piece of like 6 foot by 4 foot piece of plywood and epoxied all of it on it. And then stood it up and put it in a frame. You think a bunch of trash isn't cool until you see the piece. You're like, oh, I'd put that in my house. So it's little things like that of that's the time I get to have fun. Yeah. And then the time that pays me to actually continue to have fun. And I sell my pieces as well that I do. Yeah. But it's just nice. It's like a little salary. When you don't have a salary, to know you have, okay, I have the second payment because I do half up front, half when I deliver. So you know, like, okay, I got this much money coming in when all these are done. Yeah. And by the time that happens, I have a whole nother on that wall that I'm like, okay, cool. So stuff like that.
Talk to us about you mentioned a little bit your creative process. I'm fascinated by how you start. Do you sit there and sketch stuff out? Do you write anything out, or do you just go? Just
shoot from the hip. Yeah. You want a Ferrari painting? I put a Ferrari picture up and start painting the Ferrari and hate it and paint over it. But at least I'm started. Yeah. You know.
So if you'll paint over, you won't
most of my pieces I've painted over the pieces. There's paintings underneath the paintings.
So there's 8 layers of paintings.
Some of them. Some of them are a few. Yeah, and I'll have pieces done for like 5 or 6 years and look at it one day and be like, what was I thinking? And paint over it.
No way.
Yeah, it's just kind of part of it. Because I think what you said about like when we first started, what are we going to be known for on this earth?
Yeah.
I look at it of what am I going to be known for on this earth in 500 years? Because most of the art, some might fall through the cracks and end up in a garage sale. But that's a big reason for pricing as well, as I command respect through pricing.
Yeah.
If I give you that piece of paper on the table and say, give me $5 for this, you're going to go, great. And in the garage sale, you're going to go, babe, put that in the garage sale.
Quarter.
I go, give me 20 grand for this. The garage show comes, do not throw that piece of paper away.
Yes.
Put that in a frame.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just the fact that I'm making you pay for it makes you respect it.
Yeah. It's interesting, and I don't know why I think of it, but not only that, but also valuing your time, right? How often do we not value our time? So you're valuing your work, but you're valuing the time and effort and skill that you're putting into it. Like, what if everybody valued their time in that way? How much more time would we utilize and not waste, and let other people waste our time? I know in our business, like, time literally is money because we're providing a service, not an actual product per se. But I was told that very early on. I used to speak and stuff like that. And it's like, well, if you don't value it, no one else is. They're going to throw it in the trash, the garage sale. If you don't make them value the impact that you're bringing to them. Yeah. And if they don't, then they don't, but then they're not going to ask you to do it. Then you can go do something else.
Yeah, what are you going to do to a guy who keeps showing up an hour late to every meeting? It's not going to work with him anymore.
No. Yeah. That's right.
Like, I'm sorry, dude. You've done this to me twice.
Yeah.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah.
I can't.
No.
Right.
No, but if you don't value your time, no one else is.
Right.
Speaking of time, what is a day in the life of, like, what do you do every day?
I'm really into the, I guess, motivational self-help podcast world. And
so you subscribe to the One Shot Podcast?
Of course.
Okay.
We're not a motivational podcast.
No, but I think that there's something being harped right now of routine.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I had the same place to go to every day, I would be a monster at routine.
Yeah.
Every day is different, and every night's different. So if I sleep at the studio probably 3 or 4 nights a week. But then I have a bed there and an Airbnb in the back, but my house is in Grapevine, about 30 minutes away from my studio. So if I'm working really late and I work till 4 a.m., I'm not going to be like, well, my routine, I'm in the 4 a.m. club. I have to get up.
Yeah.
I also believe good sleep is a really good way of productivity.
No doubt.
So a lot of times I just don't set my alarm, and I'll pop up at 9, I'll pop up at 6 or at 10. Depends on what the night was before. But it's the getting after it during the day of like, you don't have a 5-hour morning. Just get up, go get started.
Yes.
I want to take a quick break from this episode and thank our partner, Sleep Number. Guys, we talk about it week in, week out. The importance of sleep cannot be overstated. The way it makes you feel, the way it makes you perform. And there is nobody out there in the game right now doing it better than Sleep Number. Their 360 smart beds, their technology, they're the Tesla of the sleep game. That's the technical side. On the personal side, because again, we talk about it all the time, I personally want to spend my money with people that I trust and that I know have good values, and that's Sleep Number. From top to bottom, from the CEO down to the warehouse worker, they are just top-notch people doing great things, not only for the community, but for the sleep world in general. So get yourself to a Sleep Number store. They're all over the place, or sleepnumber.com. Go check out all their products and things like that. And now back to the episode.
Okay, so you mentioned ADD. Do you feel that your profession is also therapeutic for that? And like how is what you do, how has that helped that?
I think it helps tremendously because there's so much, with the ADD mind. And I've started to look into this a lot of what it is that makes you ADD and what, the fact that you can think, not can, but you are thinking about a bunch of different things at once. And I'm thinking about later tonight what I'm going to have for dinner. And, all of this stuff. Through all of that, I feel like it makes you be able to handle 5 different mural projects and 5 different things, commissions at once. It creates a interesting, flow of mindset, I suppose. And it's frustrating. It's a lot. I forget a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
it's frustrating, but I feel like the good outweighs the bad on that.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. I love it. So what does, and you mentioned a little bit earlier, you're like, all right, I want to use art to like leverage and to do some other things, but where does the next 5 to 10 years, like right now? And I know you're very much like in the moment, just start, like do this, but like, what does the future look like?
So I think a lot of people, it's funny. There's for the people who are watching the video version of this, there is a response I get all the time. And it's gotten to the point now where I just tell girls I'm in construction. Yeah. Because it's easy and like, they go, so what do you do? And I go, I'm an artist. Like, oh, like a rapper? I'm like, nope, no, I'm not a rapper. And I go, no, I'm a contemporary artist. I paint paintings. And then they always give me this face. Oh, okay. So what do you do? I paint paintings. And at this point, I'm like, I'm not trying to sell myself to you. Yeah. I just say, I paint, and then change the subject.
That doesn't get you excited. Yeah, we don't have anything in common.
And it's not even that. It's just more like, there becomes this thing of like, what do you do really means how much money do you make and how can I connect? Yeah. How can I get connected to what you do? How easy is
the introduction to my parents going to be?
Yeah. That. And it's like, okay. And it's not even to the girl thing. It's also like professional guys and like dudes I'm meeting. They think because you sell art, you must not make that much money. And not even that I make a lot of money. It's just the image I have in my head is a lot different than what everybody sees me as when they hear I'm an artist.
Yes.
I'm going to own a lot of commercial property. I've seen the effect of investing wisely and having things like having to say no to the Mustang so I could build out an event space that runs itself. That has made me 10x what the Mustang would have ever done for my cool points.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The little hustles, like I'm trading a painting right now for a commercial kitchen, and I'm going to sell it all and make like 5x what I would on if I just sold the painting. Huh. I bought a Land Rover in London, like an old school 1960 Land Rover for a really good price, and I shipped it over and I'm going to flip it. Like things like this, I'm doing it with little things now, and I have an Airbnb, but residual money. Yeah. And just so I can have the piece of like, you know, it's crazy. Everybody talks about like, I want to give my kids a better child than I had. I'm like, I'm just trying to meet where I was at. Yeah. And then better, obviously. But like, that's a big pair of shoes to fill. Yeah. I had a great childhood. Yeah. So I realized when I was like 16 at dinner one day, I was like, oh my God, my dad has to pay for all 4 of us. Every time we go out. Yeah. Start ordering something different. My little sister. Yep. Yeah. So to start preparing for that, I'm thinking I don't want to have to rely on selling a painting. Multiple streams of income is like amazing because you remember like, oh shit, we have this much money on this account.
Oh wait, that's right. Yeah. Yes.
So that times 5, I just peace of mind and a truly enjoyable life where I can just make food and barbecue for all my friends and family. Yeah. Love that. But I'm gonna peak at like 75. I'm not even done yet.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, that's the cool thing about your profession is there's no retiring. I mean, you go as long as you want.
No, dude, I'm going to be like Picasso painting in my underwear. Like 75.
Just a little weird, but like putting out some killer pieces.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Always a little weird. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah. So in our industry, it's not 9 to 5, but there's work hours, there's home hours. It seems like for you, it just all bleeds together. Like you're just living.
Yeah, and I'm also doing this. So I've always wanted a family, and like I'm very much looking forward to that part of my life. And it went for so long. I was like, God, give me a family, and then I realized, oh, I'm preparing for a family. I got to take this time and just like 10x it. Yeah. Because what I can do now, I know there's gonna be a time where I'm like, I can't work till 4 a.m. I got to go home and be with the family. I got to do it now.
We got practice tomorrow afternoon that I've got to be at. Yeah.
So if I can hustle now to where all this is just trickling while I'm at practice in the next 5 or 10 years, whatever, golden. It'd be great. But I'm just terrified of being a failure, honestly. Man. That's what my friend's parents proving me right. That's what are proving me wrong. I had one girl who was like, Michael, why don't you just go back to college? You're going to be a loser. And I was like,
say that one more time, just so I can. Okay, cool. Watch.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, watch me. Hold my beer.
Yes. Yes.
Is that what motivates you? Is dude, negativity from others?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but it is what it is.
Because you could succumb to it, or you can be challenged by it. You got a choice.
Yeah. I'm the person. If you can't do that, I'm like, oh, watch me.
Watch. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. No, I love it.
That's one of my biggest learning lessons of this podcast is we said it a bunch. There are no rules. I used to think there's a certain way to do things. There's a secret to getting somewhere. Man, it's anything.
It's the right way until someone figures out a better way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, wait, that's the right way. We make a course on that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So then you can say to everybody else, no, that's the wrong way. And somebody else will make the right way.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the coolest part of your job or your lifestyle?
The people I get to meet.
Yeah.
100%. My clients are so cool.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's a thing called the ideal client that my dad's taught me about of like, kind of similar, like if the guy's late an hour for 3 times, he's not your ideal client.
Yeah.
Your ideal client is somebody who's, I love Texas money, much better than New York money.
Right.
Of like, New Yorkers are like, put it in the parlor, and they don't look at me. Texas money is like the dudes in like hog blood covered boots. Like,
Yes.
what's up, Michael?
Yeah.
So I'm wanting 3 paintings here. I want a mural there. Let me cut you a check.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yes.
And those are the people I drive with of like, let's cook a steak, crack a bottle open, and just like be buddies. And then I can create art more accurately for you because I know who you are.
Because I know you. Yeah.
I'm like buddies now. It's instead of like this stern, like scary, I'm
Yeah.
freaking out if I'm going to do it right or not.
Yeah.
That is my coolest part of my job is just getting to meet the people I meet.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So that's your process. You want to meet the people that you're about to work for. You want to hang out with them for a little bit.
Yeah, I've had a few people try and like manage me or and there are certain people that I will work with on different projects, like commercial projects and stuff. But for the most part, the day-to-day management stuff, I'm like, wait, y'all are gaining the relationship.
Yeah.
I want to be texting.
Yeah.
So I'm not that busy.
Yeah.
I can text my own clients.
Yeah.
And banter.
That's
I
good.
call them every now and again. I send them gifts just because. Like I send them little boxes sometimes of like, here's some of my favorite sea salt. This is a great dry rub I did on a pork the other day that I just like made all the ingredients. And then I did one thing where I made my own butter and put it in a little ice pack and sent it off to all my favorite clients.
Dude, you should start like a YouTube cooking channel.
Nah, we were talking about that
Like
the
art
other
and
day.
cooking. Somehow combine the two. That'd be sweet.
That's a great idea. And this might have to do with him
Yeah.
later on in the day.
Yeah, shout out Snacks Media.
Yeah.
I just think we need to make
I need a
TV
media
show
guy.
just
Yeah.
about your life, right?
Yeah.
Like just follow you the day in the life.
that
Like,
would be great.
yeah.
That
That's
will
what we
be
need.
great.
I would.
Hey,
I'd-
YouTube, man, you
I'd
can do
watch
anything
it.
you want now.
Yeah,
you don't
I'd
need a
watch it.
network.
100%.
Yeah.
Just do
I
it
just need to
yourself.
find an editor.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I'm inspired.
I know.
I don't know I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but I am inspired. And it again, this
Just
was
start, bro.
Go to Hobby Lobby,
Yeah.
buy a canvas, and just throw some
So
paint.
he actually
Dude,
does
date
paint.
nights
Yeah.
for y'all.
That's right.
Yeah.
Seriously, but put some. You ever seen the show Dexter,
Oh yeah.
where they make like a plastic murder room?
Oh yeah.
Home Depot, $10 and some tape. Make a murder room. But don't make
murder
a
anybody,
painting room.
obviously.
Sorry.
Well, my next house will have a detached like home gym, but then I've always dreamed of having like a one little room as part of that is just a paint room.
Do imagine for your kids
Art
too
room.
to have a room that
Yes.
they can just like
Yes.
nothing in here is gonna get messed
Right.
up.
Just go.
Yes.
Close your eyes and throw.
Yeah,
Just
that's
explore.
my wife's car for my son. And just colors on everything, so it's cool. It's good. It's a movable room.
Now the car would be like, son, don't.
Oh, don't you dare touch
Not
it.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, if I drove that car, yeah.
Well, I don't know, Tyler, if you had anything else.
No,
but
man, dude,
that
this has
was
been
awesome.
incredible. Again, handle on Instagram.
At Michael Shellis.
So Michael Michael Shellis SHELL.
That's the best way to
IS.
get in touch with you through
Yeah,
through Instagram.
just through
Okay,
DMs.
cool.
That's the best way.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, if people listen to this, they want to commission you for a painting. That's the best.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll set up a phone call. We do like a little consultation so I can understand who you are, unless you want to invite me for a steak and some whiskey.
Yeah,
Okay, fine.
that
that
works
too?
too.
Okay, fine.
Oh, twist my arm. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Well, thank y'all for having me
No,
on.
man,
This
dude,
so
this
great.
is awesome, man.
Yeah.
I learned a lot, and it's crazy. Like I can relate to so many things that you're talking about. I just wish I had not played football. And you know what I wanted to do, honestly? Like my dream job was, and I don't know if I've ever told you this. I wanted to be a snowboard park designer.
That's a
Snowboard park
great
designer.
niche. Do that. Just do it. Just jump.
See,
So
Michael,
don't quit your day job. Do it on your free time. Remember what we talked
Side
about?
hustle. Design all the snowboard parks in Texas.
Texas's only snowboard park designer. But it's VR.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, someone has to design them.
That's
Makes
true.
sense, like the X
No,
Games
it's true.
stuff.
Yeah. I
And
mean, somebody does.
Yeah,
I mean, there's some intricacies. I mean, they've gotten really complex over the years,
yeah,
but that would be a dream.
do that. That's great.
Oh, come
Let's
on.
go snowboarding.
yeah.
All right. But hey, appreciate you coming on,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Again, just start, y'all. Like, just start. If there's something that you believe in, start it. again, doesn't have to take over your life, but just start it and you will figure it out.
Yeah, love it.
Man.
Michael, appreciate you,
man.
Thank you.